All right, good afternoon, everybody. I will call to order the Impact Fee Advisory Committee meeting of May 4th, 2021. A physical quorum of the members is not present. However, pursuant to Section 70 of the Open Meetings Act, members are permitted to attend remotely. Either one member of the committee, the chief administrative officer, or legal counsel are physically present at the regular meeting. So we do have that. So therefore, pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, members are allowed to attend via Zoom. So thank you. What I'd like to do is just do it like we normally do. Everybody can introduce themselves. Don Petrowski, County Board, District 1.
Chris Snyder, Director of Transportation, County Engineer, DuPage County.
John Loper, DuPage County DOT.
Barbara Reynolds, DuPage County State's Attorney, Assistant State's Attorney.
Christine Bentley, Administrative Assistant.
All right. Dave.
Court Earhart Construction.
Thank you.
Scott Miller from Jones Lang LaSalle.
Marcy Schatz, Deputy City Manager at the City of Naperville.
Mike Smetana, Development Services Director, Village of Lisle.
All right, I do see that we do have a quorum, as we only needed 6 and we have 7. So thank you very much for coming. We have no public comment. Next, I'd like a motion to approve the Impact Fee Advisory Committee meeting of June 11th, 2019. Can I have somebody make a...
So moved.
Okay, so move Scott. Then can I get a second?
Second.
That's second by Chris. Any changes, alterations, or corrections? Do we need to take a roll call vote then since we're doing this remotely?
We do.
Okay, because we don't have an actual quorum in the meeting, everything will have to be a roll call vote. Could you do a roll call, Christina, those who are here?
Sure. Puchalski.
Aye.
Haas. Oh, I'm sorry. Snyder.
Aye.
Schatz.
Aye.
Smetana.
Aye.
Earhart.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
All right, that approves. We're now at chairman's remarks. Basically, today we're going to take an action item to publish the 2019 and 2020 annual financial reports. John is going to give us an overview and outline as far as dates for action to approve the ordinance. And then we will pick days for our upcoming meetings, and hopefully we'll have a quorum at that meeting as well. That being said, I will go to item 5, which is staff reports. John, would you take that over?
Thank you, Chairman, and welcome Mike Smetana from Village of Lisle. He was the new appointed member of from DMMC for a municipal role here on the committee. And thank you, Mike, for making it. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Thank you.
If there's anything we can do to help you out and get you up to speed, let us know. Happy to help. So thank you for joining us today. The Impact Fee Committee was kind of cut short in 2019, and apologize for the delay in getting this out. But we are at the point now where we want to make some changes to the impact fee ordinance, the schedule. We'll be going through the impact fee processes on the comprehensive road improvement plan changes. And so the calendar that I sent out to you, Exhibit 5A1, is a, Joe, can you next slide, please? Next slide, thanks. So on that one, it's a fairly complicated diagram. Sorry about that. It's just kind of showing you or demonstrating to you some of the things that are going to be upcoming. This is kind of a preliminary look. It's not official dates yet, but we will get official dates within the next few weeks. So with the ordinance, the CRIP, and all the things that go with it in terms of the public hearing, these are kind of the dates that we're looking at. June 1st, we'd like to get that together again, as Chairman has said, to review the final draft ordinance, to look at the final draft impact fee schedule, and to update you on where we are with the comprehensive road improvement plan. Following that meeting, there's a procedure or process that we have to go through in order to set a public hearing date for the ordinance. And that public hearing date is goes by resolution through the Transportation Committee, whereupon we post public hearing notices 3 times, and then within 30 days after the public hearing notices, we have the public hearing to consider the ordinance changes and the impact fee schedule changes. So it's a fairly complex set of requirements that the state statute has set up for us. But with this meeting, we hope to give you about a month to take a look at the ordinance changes we have proposed, the impact fee schedule, and then to get your comments, questions, and make any amendments prior to publication of the ordinance for public hearing. Next slide, Joe. So here are the critical dates again, and hopefully we'll be able to find dates that everybody can make it. There is a little flexibility in here, but we want to try to get quorums whenever we can, and so we'll do what we did before, which is to send out save the dates. Obviously, we'll do polls as well, and hopefully we'll get more than 6 people.
I assume from reading it, we're keeping a 1 o'clock time on those.
Yeah, and if people want to tell me that 1 o'clock is not going to work for them, I mean, we also have some constraints here, in terms of meeting rooms, facilities, and chairman's schedule. So we'll try to make it amenable to everybody. Any questions on the schedule so far? That's okay. So hearing none, we'll move to item 5B, financial reports. Obviously, with us not being able to make it together in 2020 to review the 2019 reports, the committee is charged with reviewing these annually and issuing an approval for us to move forward with publication of these. The publication is usually done in the Daily Herald or another paper of general circulation, and we need to get those out as we are required by statute to publish them annually. So we do put them out on the website no matter what, but we are still required by law to publish them in the newspapers. 2019 was a very good year for us in comparison to others. We collected a little bit over 1.75 million in cash, and also in use of credits. Credit usage was pretty heavy in that year. On this report, we're required to publish the receipts, the interest earned, and our expenditures, and at the end of the year, also the end of year cash balance. And so that's what you're seeing here. The districts are 1 through 9 for Michael. The impact fee districts are organized by township, where Wayne is District 1. District 9 is Downers Grove Township. Your district, District 8, Lyle Township. That's how those are organized. The 10th fee district is the administrative district. In that district, that should equal about 5% of the accumulation of the receipts from the other fee districts. When a transaction occurs, 5% of that of the impact fee collected is transferred to the administrative district, which is District 10. So with this particular, with these 2 reports, Joe, next slide, please. 2020 report, we show a little weaker year. Obviously, our middle third of the year due to COVID was severely impacted, but still had a lot of strength in District 2, which is Bloomingdale Township, District 4, which is Winfield Township, due to the DuPage Business Center collections, and then also in Downers Grove Township, District 9. We include some expenditures there on the report. As you probably have gathered, even though we're trying as best we can to spend the impact fees, some years we actually fall a little short of what we collect. Some years we do a lot better and actually spend the fees on a little bit more aggressive way. Next slide, Joe. This is a chart of the last 10 years of our program history. As you can see in the yellow line, those are the receipts that we have tracked over the years. Starting on the left, in the recession years, 2010, 11, 12, we had some pretty lean years in those years. Then we had a little bubble in the 15, 16, 17 years after kind of in the recovery years. And then 2019, as you can see, was quite a bit higher than the other years surrounding it. We have been tracking fewer applications over the years. As you can see, our high was a little bit over 500 applications in 2015. That's been kind of receding gradually over the last few years. Even so, we have been collecting a fair amount from the commercial impact fee applications, and which kind of makes up the difference. Residential applications still make up about 80% of all of our applications, 20% commercial. Next slide, Jim. So some of the key project expenditures that we've been allocating the impact fee revenues to is our central signal system and these interconnects between our signal systems. Those are in multiple districts, and we have multiple contracts with those, and so we are allocating funds to those. Our 31st Street, Myers Road to York Road project, which is important because it's in District 6. District 6 is one where we have some difficulty finding projects to spend the money on. But we've also done Deal Road, 75th Street, 87th Street at Woodward, and do a lot of small projects with engineering and right-of-way acquisition as well. So these are some of the things that we have allocated money towards. Any questions on those?
Yeah, John, this is Steve Davidson. I do have a question, just out of curiosity. If you look at the 2 years for districts 2 and 3, it seemed like there were no expenditures for the last 2 years. Is that unusual to have 2 years back to back without any expenditures?
It is not, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of the upcoming slides.
Okay.
It is not, although we like to try to have something in each district every year. We know, practically speaking, we're probably not going to have that. But in upcoming years, we would hope that we'd have better performance in that way.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Also in the financial report side, there's impact fee credit agreements. We always share this with the committee. This is not something that we publish. This is a listing of impact fee credit banks that are out there or outstanding. We issued a fair number of impact fee credits in the years between 1990 and 1995. Warrenville Development in Naperville and Warrenville was issued almost $10 million of credits, as you can see there. Over the 30 years that we've been running with this, we've utilized about 80% of those credits. I think about Court probably recognizes some of the others on here from the District 5, the Wheatonfield Venture, the Data Centers, all that kind of stuff. Those are inactive credit banks. We have not seen any activity on those for years. Not sure if they still exist as corporations, but we have reached out from time to time with them to try to find somebody who is responsive to let them know that they still do have credits if they wanted to use them. Same thing with Lake Geary Limited Partnership in Hanover Park area. They kind of dropped off the map in the early 2000s and have been non-responsive to us as well. So we listed them as an inactive credit bank. They have almost $1 million left in that area. And so, this is kind of how we've classified our credit banks. And this is just to demonstrate to you that we're keeping track of them. We record them when they come in and produce this report annually for you. Next slide, Joe. So Steve, you were kind of getting to the question. I think Court has asked this question or has come across this a number of times. Such a thing as lapsed fees. One of the things that we do is we track the lapsed fees annually. So what lapsed fees are is when fees are not encumbered within a 5-year collection window. In the 60th month, the fees go into something that we call lapsed fees category. And an applicant may choose to inquire about those fees in between the 60th and 72nd months. And if they have not been encumbered and they want to be refunded, they can submit a refund request to us, and we will honor that. Once they're past the 72nd month, they go back into the impact fee account and are used as an impact fee. And are no longer eligible for refund. This is according to statute, and so the ordinance actually codifies that as well. So, any questions on that? I mean, presently they're sorry.
Do most of these inquire, or do they usually go back to being returned to the account? I'm just curious.
Well, most return to the account, and we do have periodic inquiries. Maybe 1 or 2 a year these days. In some cases, we deny them because it was past the 72nd month. So, but this is rolling. It could be that that next month, Milton or York or Naperville or Downers might actually have a lapsed fee also, but we're constantly watching this with our cash flow as well. So if there are any questions on that, happy to answer them now or at some point in the future.
John, is the large balance for Warrenville, is that a result of a lapsed amount?
No, so Scott, that one, that particular impact fee credit agreement was done in 1990-ish, 93, sorry. And what they did was they dedicated a large swath of right-of-way to us for us to construct Winfield Road, Ferry Road, and Deal Road. So we developed a credit agreement with them for that. And that amount was dictated by the going rate of price per square foot of property.
Got it. So that was the Cantera development.
Yeah, correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So we actively, for that district, we actively, work with the credit holders and the applicants to try to erase that balance.
Sure.
But we still do get some cash in District 7.
Okay.
Moving on to, should we take a vote on, go to action item 6 to approve those? Or do you want to do that in?
Why don't you do your staff report and then we'll
Okay.
do the action item
Okay.
after that.
Okay. Moving on to the impact fee ordinance update 5C. We sent you a lined copy of the proposed ordinance changes. I believe that we had sent this out in 2019. There have been a few minor updates to that. So I'm not going to go line by line and period by period on this, but just thought I would
And
point out.
everybody has a copy of it already emailed to them.
Yes, correct. If anybody doesn't have a copy of it, let me know. Not much I can help you with today, but we can certainly get back with you, at some later date here. So on the impact fee ordinance slides there in the reds, the bold red areas, these are some fairly significant changes that we wanted to draw your attention to. The text changes that we proposed are usually to clarify ambiguous text, like definitions and demolition credits, to strengthen sections, like in section 17 on the use of funds, to differentiate things, like I think it was a little ambiguous and it was difficult for people who were trying to interpret the ordinance, what the difference was between an impact fee improvement credit, an impact fee credit, and a remittance agreement. And then also we've done a lot of work to codify some of our unofficial practices, like our sections 19 and 20 that we have highlighted here on exemptions and fee mitigation. So, like I say, we'll let you take a look at those over the course of the next month and ask us questions or call us with any concerns. We'll be happy to consider them and adjust them if we have to. So a couple of things that I wanted to go through, just as impact fee improvement credit agreements. We've made some changes because in section 13 under fair share impact fee improvement credit agreements, a lot of times when an applicant comes in and they want to get credit for some roadway work or intersection work that they're doing as part of their project, they apply for an improvement credit agreement against their impact fees. What has been unclear, I think, in a lot of cases is that we are not permitting, acceleration or deceleration lanes, anything that's related to site access or egress as an impact fee creditable item. Traffic signal installations also have not been creditable. So we've kind of laid out that in the ordinance text where it wasn't very clear in the past. Under impact fee credit agreements, item 14, section 14. This is a whole new section that we kind of separated this out from those impact fee improvement credits. That was a source of confusion for a lot of people who were reading that. So that's a whole new section, but I think it codifies that arrangement that Scott and I were talking about with the Warrenville Development Limited Partnership applicants, where if they're going to dedicate right of way to us or any type of roadway system, this is how we go about doing it. Section 15 on demolition credits is also important. One of the things that court brought up, I think in 2018, 2019 timeframe, was the idea of making sure that the demolition credit accrues to the property and not to the person who actually did the demolition in the past. And that is something that we have adjusted in the text, and we've actually started applying that unofficially, but the ordinance changes that we're proposing really puts that into practice. On section 17, use of funds, this is a case where, we thought it was prudent on behalf of DuPage County to kind of expand and strengthen the definition of what is allowable under impact fee expenditures. This really kind of goes to our some of our discussions that we held in 2018, 2019 about using or expanding the use of our impact fee credits in our banks, for complementary municipal projects or state projects. So this particular paragraph, 15.2, 17.2, goes to that and speaks to that a little bit more plainly. And I know that's something that you guys might be interested in paying attention to. Section 19, under exemptions, line 941. This is a case where we've kind of unofficially been using an impact fee waiver process, and a lot of times the municipalities will send applicants to us with buildings or structures that are being permitted that are not accessible under our impact fee ordinance. They're usually non-habitable things like temporary structures or parking decks or patios or a variety of different things. And so this section is there to clarify what it is that's accessible and what isn't, when we will issue a waiver and when we won't. That's been a headache for me personally, and also for many of our impact fee processors in building and zoning, where they're having to answer a lot of phone questions, and really it's wasting a lot of time. Under section 20, impact fee mitigation, this section is new, and it codifies a kind of an arrangement with municipalities who are building in downtown areas. What we will do to make sure that when you're building near a metro station or near a PACE terminal or something, something of that nature, that credits are given in a consistent and orderly, predictable fashion, because we want to make sure that we provide discounts. We did this for Downers Grove, for Hinsdale, for Elmhurst, for a variety of other applicants in the past where they're doing downtown redevelopment, and we want to be able to give them credit for walkability and a lesser traffic impact profile for the development that they're implementing. So that's what that section is about.
Yeah, John, I have a quick question. The percentages contained in there, like the up to a maximum of 65% or up to a maximum of 40% on numbers 1 and 2, are you codifying what's currently in practice, or are those new numbers?
Those are new numbers based on best practices throughout the country. We've looked and done a lot of research on the percentages that are typical, for these. These are usually taken from the NCHRP. I think Marcy probably knows those too. Reports on mixed use in downtown traffic generation.
John, when looking at the difference between downtown and non-downtown development, have you historically relied on the municipality to define what that boundary is between a non-downtown versus downtown?
Yeah, yes, we have. And we've done, there's really only one location that's been a suburban location that we've put this into play, and that is at the Bloomingdale Mall, where new Woodman's was going in. We may have a second or third application for that this year. We're starting to work on those. So I just, because people are, because you develop near a PACE transit line doesn't necessarily guarantee you that you're going to get, a big discount, but you want to make sure that it's reasonable and predictable. Marcy, we also work a lot with the traffic impact engineers. In a lot of cases, we'll get the traffic impact assessment, and then we will work with them to come to a reasonable accommodation on that mitigation. That's kind of it for the ordinance updates. We did add a final section under section 29 for the sunset provision in the event that we decide that impact fees are no longer sustainable. We wanted to make sure that we actually had a process for that, and assurances are given that we will perform work on that until the revenues have been expended.
John, if I could just add what John mentioned, go back to 2 items. He did mention when it comes to auxiliary lanes, so if we're requiring you to build a turn lane to access your site, left or right, those are not considered a credit. However, if it's determined that the county wants you to extend those turn lanes to match an existing cross section, the next development, what we do is we will credit you that additional cost to go above and beyond your site, and use that as a consideration. So we have done that once or a couple times to basically extend to logical termini. And I do want to emphasize the use of funds, the slide we're looking at, section 17 by other agencies. Historically, it's been a county-led project and a county use, and this opens up, as allowed by statute, is a non-county project should a municipality find an opportunity that they can demonstrate. They have to demonstrate an improvement to the county highway system. It could be a 100% municipal project, or a municipal project and a state project, right, in which you have a local match or something, and we can, that would be a discussion of the impact eligibility, or the eligibility of those impact fee funds. Again, the key is it's got to show a benefit to the county highway system. So our hope is that opens up opportunities not only to spend down our balances, but to work especially with our municipal partners.
We have had a number of cases where the state has come through with a project of their own, Butterfield Road, Illinois 59, where impact fees, were eligible. But one of the other things about this is that we have to make sure that that these projects are somehow identified or eligible through our impact fee CRIP, our comprehensive road improvement plan. So we will be watching that. All right, moving on to impact 5C, impact fee rate schedule. We've submitted to you a one-page document. It's a chart of impact fee proposed rates, and those should be in a kind of a colored chart. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find my own copy here. So it's Exhibit 5C1, proposed impact fee schedule for ODT 21S. What we have done is we have updated many of the impact fee calculation factors that went into this, into the rate schedule. And some of those we'll talk about in a minute. This particular schedule, we are expanding a little bit to include some new categories. where we have had a number of individual assessments requested of us in the past. So we want to make sure to add these. One of the things that showed up here was, you know, the high cube fulfillment center or warehouse. We've had a number of those occur, and those are important to differentiate from normal warehousing. We've also had a lot of mini warehouses or self-storage units come through in recent past, and want to make sure that those are in the tables. Data centers are becoming more popular as well. They have a unique trip generation profile unto themselves. Coffee and donut shops. This is something that, you know, I'm going to resent it because I drink coffee all the time. They'll probably charge me extra. But a lot of the coffee shops have been assessed as just retail or fast food restaurant, and they have a very different impact fee profile than the typical restaurants. Home improvement superstores and discount superstores. We've had a few of those. We may be kind of late to the gate on this one, but we also have seen a lot of pharmacy and drugstore. So we're trying to make the fee schedule more pertinent and relevant to today's permitting and commercial permitting. We've changed a couple of the residential service categories: continuous care and congregate care, assisted living, memory care.
Hey, John?
Yeah.
Just a question as I was thinking about some of those items. How do you differentiate between something that creates a unique trip to a location and something that is simply a stop as you drive by? Because in essence, a stop, and when I'm thinking stop as you drive by, you know, like a gas station, I mean, they've got traffic, but I'm not going to a specific gas station. If I need gas, I'm stopping at the one that I'm driving by to fill up. And it just kind of made me think about that with a coffee and a donut shop.
Right. So each of these has a trip generation factor, which is published through the trip generation IT manual. But there's also a second factor, which is the pass-by factor or diverted trip factor, Court, that it's a percentage reduction on that trip based on the new trips. And so we've included those in the calculation factors as well. So there is a reduction based on that pass-by percentage. And they are they're very particular to that, and they're based on studies, national studies. I don't have a lot of data from the local sources, but we are using the national data.
Thanks.
So for unique developments and mixed use developments, we are still going to calculate fees particular to that development, and we'll be utilizing traffic impact assessment studies, be working with the developers on those. You probably put 100 different categories of land use on here. We still run into unique circumstances at times, and so we'll never be able to put all of the categories on there. So technical factors, we got into that, into the pass-by factors that Court alluded to. We also have changed and looked at trip length factors. Those have been altered a little bit. The last trip lengths that we actually had that we were using were from 2005. The ones that we are now using, are proposing to use, have been updated by CMAP based on their 2015, 2016, 2017 work from the on to 2050 plan that they developed. Vehicle miles of travel, those are important because those really dictate kind of the magnitude of the fees in each district. So what we do there is we calculate the amount of or percentage of travel on DuPage County highways in each of our impact fee districts. So for example, in District 6, which is York Township, we have very few county highways there, and so the vehicle miles of travel are 8%. In Downers Grove, on the other hand, just to the south, the vehicle miles of travel are about 30% on county highways. So the reason why District 9 fees are higher than District 6 in a lot of cases is because of that percentage of vehicle miles of travel on the county highways. Costs, we updated our construction cost and right-of-way cost numbers. They had been, the last time we had updated those was in 2008. And we used the Engineering News and Research Construction Cost Index to calculate the new costs, and that was a 38% increase in the costs. Those have been updated, and then we've also updated the credits, the motor fuel and local gas tax credits, in us increasing our local gas tax from 4 cents to 8 cents per gallon. We need to also update the amount of credits that a development is going to accrue to themselves because of the trips generated, and also with the state MFT. So we've updated both of those, and those result in a decrease in the impact fees. So next slide, Joe. So here are some of the effects of the proposed changes. As I talked about, the construction cost index increases fees about 38%. So when you double the local gas tax from 4 to 8 cents, as we did earlier this year, a single family DU average fee reduces or decreases by $44, or about 11%. Same thing with the MFT. We also, like I mentioned, we did some work with the trip generation numbers, the trip length numbers, and the BMT, and those result in significant changes also. So there's some that are going up, some that are going down, and so when you look at the proposed fees, there are some categories that decrease, some that increase, and these are some examples in this proposed fee chart, of where we see increases or decreases. So, any comments on that or discussion?
John, just a quick question, not related necessarily to this update, but future updates. When would the impact fee schedule be updated again? Is that 5 years?
Well, the committee is charged with actually reviewing the factors every year, according to statutes and our ordinance. We're charged with looking at it every year. Now, if it doesn't go up, by 5%, we're not required to change, to go through a public hearing process. But if it does go up every year by more than 5%, we've got to go through the public hearing process, and that's kind of up to the committee as to
I guess the kind of basis of the question is a lot of unknowns regarding what the working world looks like going forward from work from home versus work in office, and that type of thing. So could see some changes to just some of those baseline assumptions and trip generation rates that we've traditionally seen in the past over those next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we have talked a lot with Choose DuPage and some of the various communities about what's going on in the office and office world, and we understand that, and also with the retail as well. I think because you're actually seeing the office and retail rates go down in this particular iteration, you're seeing that there's already some movement, away from office, the traditional office trips and the retail trips. And so what's interesting is that the fast food and the high turnover restaurant rates went up significantly. And I guess that is kind of consistent with what we've been seeing out there. But yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly how we move forward with with the impact fee rates on some of the traditional office and retail locations, but we're going to keep our finger on those rates. I'm sure there'll be lots of updates in the upcoming year on what's happened during the pandemic and immediately afterwards. So the other thing about this too is that we want to make sure that we'll let you know that when we finally approve the ordinance changes and the rate schedule changes, that our hope is to put this into effect probably either the fourth quarter or December 1st, depending upon what the county board and transportation committee decide. But we do want to put this into place fairly soon. Are there any other questions on that? And if you want to take some time and look it over and ask questions as follow up, if you either email me or call me, and I'm happy to talk through it with you.
All right, thanks, John. I appreciate all your work on this. There are some substantial changes, which we have a lot of stuff to go over. Does anybody have any questions regarding the presentation that John just completed? I don't think we do. That takes us to agenda. Yes, I'm sorry.
Chairman, if I could just clarify then, for our anticipated next meeting of June 1 is the target. It would be the ordinance and the fee schedule that we would be seeking committee members' input. Either up at that meeting to approve, I guess, a draft, or input questions for John to answer for discussion at that meeting.
So we're throwing out, we're looking at June 1st, July 27th, and then September 28th. Are those our next proposed meeting dates, John?
Yes.
All right, so if we can get those out, hopefully we'll be able to, have everybody attend at that meeting, those meetings as well. All right, that takes us to agenda item 6, which is an action item. I'd ask for a motion to approve and post and publish the financial reports for 2019 and 2020. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, and second by
Second.
Mr. Snyder. Have any questions on this at all? Okay, I may have a roll call vote, please.
Puchalski.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Schatz.
Aye.
Smetana.
Aye.
Earhart.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Thank you, that passes. That takes us to number 7. Does anybody have any old business?
That's today, Mr. Chairman.
And anything under new business? Anybody have anything under new business? If not, now I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Snyder
Okay.
and a second, okay. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Puchalski.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Schatz.
Aye.
Smetana.
Aye.
Earhart.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
We do stand adjourned. Our next meeting is June 1st. If 1 o'clock does not work, please let us know. And I appreciate all the time that goes into this thing. It's a lot of information, a lot of changes. And John, thank you very much. If there are any changes, you can always work through John as far as timing of meetings or anything else as far as questions. So we do stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
folks. Take care.
Thank you.